For the past 14 years, he's helped transform over 21,000 clients. He was the first one to popularize 30-minute fat loss workouts in El Paso and Las Cruces. He's changed the fitness industry in the U.S.-Mexico border. He's the trainer's trainer and has helped hundreds of fitness enthusiasts become trainers. Over the last 7 years, he's helped thousands of kids in need through his charitable contributions. He's the CEO of Raw Fitness, voted #1 gym by the City magazine. He is the king of weight loss, a master in success mindset, transformation genius. He's the man on a mission to change 1 million lives by 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise and put your hands together for Mr. Octavio Urias.
All right, we are live on Instagram, live on Facebook. How are you? I hope your day is going amazing. I have a fan in the room and I'm excited. She's there watching us do this live. You know, he's behind the camera helping me, and the fan, Mama Ra. But no, actually it's the other way. I'm the fan. Anyway, hey, hope your day is going great. I'm giving away a trip to Vegas. All you gotta do is answer this question. The first person that we see that gets the right answer. What is the #1 ingredient for muscle tone, for fat loss? What is it that you need? What is the ingredient you need that is non-negotiable? Without this, you won't succeed. You won't get firm muscles. You won't get that muscle tone, that definition. What is it? Tell me. Post it in the comments. First person that you see that answers this, tell me the name. We're doing this on Facebook and Instagram. So whoever answers first, one winner will get a trip to Vegas for 2 people, 3 days, 2 nights, plus $50 on discounts. What is the #1 fat loss ingredient? What do you need for fat loss? And especially if you're working out, this is even more important. So we'll wait for that answer. Hopefully somebody gets it right. Let me know if we start getting answers. In the meantime, let me just brag about my new ring. See, I wasn't wearing a ring for a while because when my wife gave me a ring, my wedding ring, I lost so much weight that the thing would fall off. So for like a year, right? Or over like a year and a half, I wasn't wearing a ring, and for Valentine's she gave me this new ring, so I feel awesome with it now. And now that I'm talking and using my hands, I can't help but feel something different. So I'll get used to it again. But again, if you want the trip to Vegas for 2 people, which is good until December 2020, so you can plan your getaway with your spouse, with your boyfriend or girlfriend or your son or daughter or whoever. 2 people going to Vegas, $500 discount, hotel paid. Just take care of the flight and the taxes. And the way you win this is tell me what is the #1 ingredient for muscle tone, which is why what we're gonna cover today and the tips I'm gonna give you so you can get that muscle tone that you want. Do we have the answer yet?
Somebody's saying protein.
Somebody's saying protein. Who is the first person that said protein?
On Instagram, Ernie Martinez.
But who, like overall, who was the first one?
Hold on.
And that is right, by the way. The right answer is protein. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'll tell you how you can use the protein to your advantage so you can get leaner faster. So we have a winner. Now, who's the winner? Because several people said protein. So we need to figure out who was the absolute first, the very first person to say it.
Emily Lerma.
Emily Lerma, congratulations. You're going to Vegas. We paid for the hotel. We give you $500 in discounts. You just take care of the taxes and you take care of the flight. So all I need you to do is DM me, inbox me your address. Where do you want me to mail the certificates to you? For 2 people, congratulations. Have fun in Vegas. And let's talk about it. Why is protein so important? Let me tell you a story. I had a client, a female client, who was working with us for about a year. And she made some progress at the beginning, but as you can imagine, after a while you kind of get stuck and you start going slower and slower. And she made progress for like the first 2 months. And then for the remaining months, it was just very, very little progress, sometimes no progress. And this was very frustrating to me because I was like, we were pushing. I was personally training this person. It was when I was teaching all the sessions back in the day. And I was pushing her, I was motivating her, I was doing everything, but I was like, something's going on. She would work out 4 to 5 days a week with me, and she wouldn't get the amazing results like everybody else was. So then soon, well actually, not sooner than later, but later, a year later, she tells me, what is it about this protein that you're recommending? Because I'm just scared of getting bulky. I'm scared that protein is gonna make me bulky. Like, I'm busting my butt in the gym and I don't wanna consume something that's gonna get me bulky. Well, the reality is, number one thing to remember, write this down, protein does not get you bulky. Excess calories makes you bulky, okay? Regardless of where their calories are coming from, whether they're coming from junk food or good food, excess calories make you bulky, not protein. Okay, so that's the first thing to get out of the way. But she was freaking out, and I was thinking that she was taking the protein because it was part of the meal plan. So for like a year, she lied to us and told us that she was following the damn plan, following everything. But later we find out she wasn't taking the protein. She wasn't eating enough protein, not just the protein shake, but her protein was very low even from foods because she was freaking out that she was gonna get bulky. Well, let me tell you what happened. If you are training hard and you are dieting, right? Dieting, whatever diet you're doing. By dieting, I mean you're trying to eat healthier, watching what you eat, counting, restricting something. And you're doing it over and over and over again. Guess what is going to happen? You're not going to get results forever because you need more protein. And if your body lacks that protein, your body's going to start fighting you to survive. And instead of losing fat, it's going to start getting rid of muscle, okay? And therefore, you're going to lose weight, but you're going to get skinny fat. You're always going to be flabby. You might lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 pounds, but you're always going to be flabby. You're always going to have that cellulite. You're always going to, jiggle when you move, when you say bye, when you dance, when you walk upstairs. So the number one thing to understand that I talked to this client about is like, look, you've been working out for 12 months. You probably wasted 6 months. You've probably seen the results that you've worked out for 6 months or even less. Why? Because you haven't been taking the protein or a high protein intake. Okay? Why is this so important? Whether you eat protein from chicken, from eggs, from steak, from fish or seafood, from a supplement, it doesn't matter. At this point, the overall picture is without protein, without the number one ingredient, you're gonna be flabby. Why? Because protein is what muscle is made of. Okay, protein is the building block of muscle. So if you don't have enough muscle, enough protein to feed the muscle, and you're burning the muscle hard in the gym because you're training hard, you're actually wasting muscle. So the weight you're losing is muscle, not fat. And the less muscle you have, the slower your metabolism, meaning that the more of the calories you're eating, you're gonna store. So we need to increase your protein intake every single day. And if you're training hard, we need to increase it even higher. And that's one of the most common problems of people trying to lose weight is most people don't get enough protein. Most people get a lot of carbs and a lot of fats and very little protein, okay? High fats, high carbs, low protein, low fiber, low nutrient dense foods. So what we need to do is if you did nothing else, if you just change one thing to your nutrition, that you could see the biggest change would be increasing your protein intake. Matter of fact, there's been studies show that if you control your protein intake and your daily calories, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really make a difference where you move your carbs or your fats. So you can have high carb or low carb or high fat or low fat. It doesn't matter as long as you hit your daily calories that you need and you keep protein intake high where you need it. If you don't change calories and protein, carbs and fats they don't really change at all. You'll see the same fat loss, the same weight loss. Of course, they might change like point something or whatever, but it's not a significant thing. So if you're a sweet tooth, that means you can afford to have more carbs. Now, if you're someone who likes fatty foods like steaks and bacon and cheese, then that means you could have some of those as long as you hit your protein and calories intake for the day. But without that protein, you're not gonna see that happen. So that number one ingredient is protein. Now again, if you're training hard and you're training often, you need more protein than the average person. See, the daily protein requirement is 50 grams a day. That's what they consider what an average person needs, which is, from what we've seen, totally outdated and very inaccurate. And by the way, the key word here is average person. See, the average person is someone right now who's sitting on the couch, who's watching TV, when they get home after a long day of work, actually, just sitting on a chair in front of a computer, right? Like just no physical activity. So if you don't move, if you're just you live a sedentary life, you're just a couch potato, then yes, you don't really need much protein because you're not using it. But if you're active, if you're going to the gym, maybe you have kids and you're chasing those kids around and you're playing with them, and maybe you have them all weekend when you're off work and they're off school and you gotta jump and run and chase them, then you need more energy, you need more protein, and you're burning more of that muscle tissue. Okay, so if you're training hard and being active, 50 grams a day won't do anything for you. We have a question? Yes. What is the question?
Maribel is asking, how do we know how much protein we need to intake?
Great question. How much protein do you need to intake? So it depends on, like I said, whether you're a sedentary person who doesn't do anything, just lays down all day or sits all day, versus if you're someone active or very active who is not just living an active lifestyle but actually is working out. Totally different answers, right? So for the person who is not doing anything, the 50 grams might do. But you're not gonna really see muscle tone anyway because you're not doing anything. You need some activity, some exercise. Now, if you're someone who's coming to Raw Fitness or Raw Fitness Elite, or you just work out every day and you're active every day, then that's not gonna be enough. If you train hard, the rule of thumb is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Okay? And some people, I would say 5% of the people are getting there, are getting that a gram a pound. I would say 95% of the people are not getting even close. So that means if you weigh 180 pounds, you're gonna be shooting for 180 grams of protein a day if you're training hard. Now, you can start lower, like there's a little bit more complex formula where you actually get 1 gram per pound of lean mass. So let's say you're 200 pounds and you are at 20% body fat. That means 80% is lean mass of your body. So that means what? 160 pounds of your 200 pounds. So that will be the minimum. So I would say minimum 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. How do you find out? You go to the handheld machine or whatever body fat device that you have. You test what your body fat is. Let's say you get 20%. Whatever's left out of that 100%, that's your lean mass. Okay? So then you just multiply by your weight. So if you're 30% body fat, then 70% times your weight. That's your lean mass. That will be the bare minimum, okay? If you're training hard, I would just say, forget the lean body mass. Just go for a pound. Actually, for each pound of body weight, get that gram of protein a day. So what you'll do is, let's say, just to round numbers, real simple. Let's say you weigh 200 pounds. And you're gonna eat 5 meals a day, right? So what's 200 divided by 50? Anybody? Anybody in the audience can tell me? It's 40, right? So that means if you're gonna have 5 meals, each meal is gonna have 40 grams of protein, give or take, right? If you weigh 300 pounds, then divide that by the amount of meals. If you're gonna eat 4 meals, 6 meals, just divide that, and then every meal you're gonna hit for you're gonna shoot for that amount of protein. So if you're 200 and you're eating only 3 meals a day, that's gonna be very hard to do. What's 200 divided by 3? No Somebody help us with a calculator. If you tell me, I'll give you a free protein shake. Tell me, what is 200? The first person to say, what is 200 divided by 3? 200 pounds divided by 3 meals a day.
No answers yet.
No answers yet. There's a little delay because of the Wi-Fi. So the first person, you're gonna get a protein shake if you tell me 200 pounds divided by 3 meals. By the way,
66. Gloria Rangel answered.
66 times what? Times 3, how much?
6. No, 66. They just said, the first one said 66.
66.6. Now, for you to get 66.6 grams per meal, it's pretty hard. Let me just tell you why. Let's say you're having breakfast and you're shooting for 66.6 grams, right? The average size egg has 5 to 6 grams. That means that breakfast has to have 10 to 12 eggs. Okay? What?
That's a lot of eggs.
That's a whole lot of eggs. That's right. That's a whole lot of eggs. Now that's just one meal. So if you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner, now imagine, 10 to 12 eggs for breakfast. That's not to include the fats, the carbs, the fibers, everything else you need. That's why the most effective way we've found is to alternate between a solid meal and a liquid meal. A solid meal and a liquid meal. And that's how we changed, how we transform literally over 21,000 people. Because it's just more sustainable, and you don't have to prep 5 or 6 meals and have them in Tupperwares or cook them and need a microwave 5 to 6 times a day. So all you do, what you're gonna do is have breakfast, lunch, dinner, your solid meals, and in between those, you're gonna have a protein shake. That way, you don't need 66 grams in your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner, because what's 200 if we divide it by 5 or 6 meals, which is meals and shakes.
40.
40! That's if you do 5. If you do 2 shakes and 3 meals, that's 40 grams that you're shooting for per meal. Now, if you did 3 meals and 3 shakes, now what's that? 200 divided by 6. 33. Way easier to do, right? So anyway, however you want to do it, the most successful process or program is the one that adapts to your personality, to your lifestyle, to your needs. So if you're someone who can do 5 to 6 meals and snacks, perfect. Now, if you're someone who travels a lot and has a busy schedule, maybe 2 jobs and kids, then maybe that's too much, and maybe you'll need something like we recommend when we do intermittent fasting, which is fewer meals, but bigger meals in a smaller window of time of the day. But that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, that's how you get your protein. Now, this is very important, because if you're training super hard and you're not getting enough protein, you're gonna be spinning your wheels, just like my client did for a whole year, and really she wasted half a year, I would say, just to not exaggerate. But really, her results came in 2 months. In the last 10 months, she was going back and forth, lose a pound, gain a pound, lose 2 pounds, gain 2 pounds, just looking the same and just feeling tired and feeling weak and looking flabby. Imagine you go to the gym 4 to 5 days a week for a straight year, and you don't see results for 10 of those months. That's pretty frustrating. Most people will quit after that. So that's why I'll tell you, do not be scared of getting bulky with protein. Protein doesn't get you bulky. Excess calories gets you bulky. Matter of fact, low protein intake has higher chances of you getting fat than higher protein intake. Why? Because protein feeds the muscle. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn per day. The more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism. The more muscle you have, the leaner you look. And the smaller you look. See, if you have a pound of muscle and a pound of fat, they're both a pound, but the pound of muscle takes less space. So you could be 150 pounds of solid muscle and look like $1,000,000. And you could be 150 pounds of skinny fat and look flabby, and you won't be able to, run on the beach this summer because you'll look like, what is that called? How do you say? Terremoto?
Earthquake.
Cause you'll look like an earthquake is happening as you're running, out of the beach. So that's not what we want for you to happen, right? So protein's important. Now, I have here, this is the official teaser, right? This is the official teaser. This is one of our protein powders that we're developing. Right now we use IsoFX by MyoFX, but in the next few months, we're gonna have our very own protein powder, which is the cleanest, best tasting you'll find and easiest to digest. See, but right now, this is gonna take still another months or weeks. So right now, what I want you to do is go to Raw Fitness and grab a powder, an IsoFX tub of protein powder. Okay, it's the best thing we found so far. So while we come up with this, I'm taking IsoFX. You should be taking IsoFX, especially if you're coming to Raw or you're coming to Elite, because if not, you're gonna be wasting your time. You're not gonna get the progress that you could be getting. Chances are you could be 10, 20, 30% ahead right now if you had the protein intake you need on every single day and you did this day in and day out. Okay, so here's a few things that you want to look for in a protein powder. You want to make sure that there's low sugar or no sugar in it. Okay, that's number one. See, a lot of protein shakes, they add a lot of sugars because they want it to taste good, because if they don't taste good, people won't drink them, right? But there's if it's a high sugar content, a high carb content, then a lot of times you're doing more harm than the benefit you're getting from the protein. That's why I don't recommend protein bars. Because most so-called protein bars are really candy bars. They are really carb bars. Why? Just turn it around, look at how many grams of protein they have, and look at how many grams of carbs and sugar or sugar alcohols have. Sometimes, oftentimes, they have just as much carbs as they have protein. And in other cases, they have more carbs than actual protein. So a lot of these bars shouldn't even be called protein bars. They should be called carb bars or candy bars, because you'll see they have like caramel and chocolate and like all this stuff. And then you eat that bar to get 12 grams of protein. It won't really do much, okay? So that's one of the things you want to look for. Low carb, low sugar content in it, okay? You also want to have a low fat content in it. That's why protein bars are not the best, okay? And a lot of times cheap proteins are not the best answer, because supplement companies, in order to reduce the cost and be able to profit more, instead of putting more protein, more higher concentrate formula of protein, they'll use a cheap protein and use fillers like sugars and other stuff. So the scoop that you're putting in your shake is not really just protein. You're getting a lot of other stuff that's not going to benefit. It's actually going to harm your progress. Okay, so that's why you want to have a high protein, low carb, low fat ratio on that protein. Another thing you want is you want something that's easy to digest. A lot of times you buy cheap proteins, like you all know whey protein is the highest recommended, right? But the cheapest whey proteins that you find at Sam's or Walgreens or Costco, a lot of times they're whey concentrate. The whey concentrate protein is it's a way lower quality than the whey isolate. The whey isolate is what you want to go, which is the premium protein. It's way more expensive, but it's the highest or the purest form of whey protein, which means your body doesn't have to break it down or convert it or anything. It's just ready to absorb. With a whey concentrate, your body still has to process it, break it down into an absorbable formula, and it's a low quality protein. So that's another thing you want to look for, especially if you're going to use this as snacks or post-workout. You want the whey isolate because it's cleaner, it's lighter, it's easier to digest, and it's also way faster to absorb. So if you're using it as a snack or post-workout, you want that to absorb as fast as possible. And whey isolate is going to be the fastest to absorb and go into the bloodstream, so you can feed those muscles and get that recovery going. So again, this is why the protein is so important. Actually, you'll see that this is one that we rejected. We've been getting so picky with this because we want it to taste great, but we want it to not have all the crap that you don't need. So this one we rejected. This is a mocha flavor with the real coffee in it for you coffee lovers. So this is the version one of the versions that we rejected because it wasn't as great as we wanted. I mean, it's the great quality, but the flavor was still kind of off. It still kind of tasted like a protein. You still had that aftertaste. So the new version we have, the one that we're actually going to release, which I'm waiting for, it smells just like a coffee. It tastes just like a coffee. You don't get the chalky protein aftertaste. It doesn't bloat you because actually we're putting digestive enzymes in it. See, a lot of times people eat protein or drink a protein and they get bloated, they get gassy, they start burping a lot. So you're not gonna have that problem with ours because we're putting a full dose of digestive enzymes, which is gonna help you prevent bloating, prevent gas, and actually it's gonna help absorb everything better and faster. What are you laughing? Somebody's commenting something funny?
You're adorable. And then there's some people...
Oh, thank you so much. You're adorable too. Thank you for your comment.
Some people are saying that they use Herbalife. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Next question.
Oh, okay.
No comment.
Okay, so there's another question. Is it okay if I buy a protein high in carbs and protein if I want to gain muscle since I'm already skinny?
You're already skinny. Okay, so that's a whole different subject. See, right now we're talking in terms of losing fat, losing weight. If you're trying to bulk up, then you're not gonna just do it by protein. You actually need a higher caloric intake per day. Okay, so you're gonna need to keep that protein high, like we said, one gram per pound of body weight. But you're also gonna have to increase your carbs and fats, especially if you're skinny and you're having a hard time gaining. You're gonna need that. However, it is always best to drink a protein shake that is clean, just like I'm talking about, and adding carbs and fats from natural foods. See, I've used before, like there's this protein powder, it's called weight gainers. So it's a protein plus carbs plus sugar plus fats, just because you get a lot of calories in one shake. I used to drink these shakes that were like 1,500 calories per shake when I was trying to bulk up and be as big and strong as possible. But a lot of those carbs are just sugars and crap. So what I started doing to get best results is you get the clean protein and you add the carbs and the fats from natural food. So I would add, for carbs, I would add actually natural fruit. I would add oatmeal, okay? Something that's actually gonna benefit for my body, and it's not just plain sugar, okay? So if I was gonna add a fat source, I would add coconut oil, right? Way better than just something that comes, carbs and fats that come from a powder. So I hope that helps. It made a big difference for me, by the way. We have more questions?
No, we're good.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Remember this, the number one ingredient you need, if you want to look leaner, firm, tight, you want that muscle tone, you need to have high protein, and you need to control your calories and proteins for the day. Once you do that, fats and carbs can move, all right? When you are going to hit your protein intake per day, it's going to be very hard to do it just from meals. That's why the most effective way we found is to alternate between solid and liquid meals throughout the day. So you have a solid meal, let's say breakfast. Then you have a liquid meal, a shake for a snack. Then you have a solid meal for lunch, right? And then you have a snack, a liquid as a snack. So this works perfect, because if you have kids to get ready to go to school in the morning and you're rushing, or you're going to get to work, you know, chances are in the mid-morning you're going to be driving, or you're at work in the middle of work, and you don't have a chance to go for a break and cook a meal or pull up your Tupperware. That's where the shake comes in handy. When you have your lunch break, then you can have your solid meal. In the afternoon, chances are you're driving in traffic, you're stuck in traffic, you're picking up the kids from school, or you're dropping them off to the activities. Hard to be eating a solid meal, right? That's why a liquid meal comes in handy there. So that's why I want you to go to any Raw Fitness location today and grab a tub or 2 or 3 of ISOFX while we come out with this, with our own. Because right now ISOFX is the one that we found absolute best quality. And that's what we've been using for years. That's what I use now. And in a month or 2 or so, then our own supplement line is launching. But in the meantime, I don't want you to waste, like my client did back then, I don't want you to waste another 2 months spinning your wheels, busting your butt in the gym with little to no results because your protein is not high enough. All right. So again, who was the winner for the Vegas trip? Lerma, right? I think Lerma was the last name. So if you're still here, make sure you DM me or inbox me your address, and I'll mail you your price. I'll mail you your certificate, and I hope you have a blast in Vegas for 3 days, 2 nights, 2 people, hotel paid, and $500 on bonuses and discounts. If this helps, I hope this helps, but remember, you gotta apply it. It's not just about great information, it's about implementation. Knowledge is not power, it's just potential power. So you gotta go ahead and implement. So if this helps, let me know, post a comment. Let me know how you're tracking your protein. Let me know what you're shooting for. If you're gonna do 4 meals, 5 meals, 6, or if you're gonna do 3 meals bigger. I wanna know what you're doing. I wanna help you. I wanna support you. And if you feel that your friends or family or your loved ones, maybe they need to be a little leaner. Maybe they have too much cellulite. Maybe they jiggle too much, and you want it to be their best, just like you. You want all your friends, all your circle to be fit, trim, strong, and not jiggle for the summer. Then share this post, tag them in this feed. As I help you achieve your goals of getting leaner, stronger, and better, I want you to help me achieve mine of reaching 1 million people by 2023. I want you to be one of those 1 million lives that we're going to change with the Raw Fitness movement. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.